Hope everyone's doing well. Sorry for the impromptu on the road live stream. I tried to schedule my instance out of a live stream last night, but I ended up actually going out watching the Oilers game. So I kind of got distracted, to be honest. But let me know if I'm coming in okay in the chat. Let me just try to make sure all my tech is okay. You guys know when I do the car streams, it's kind of a gong show. So hope everyone's doing well. Steven says, anyone know who between Tucker and Bill Maher did Elon did an interview with? Well, he did both. The Bill Maher one just came out, I think, on full a couple of days ago. I was watching that last night. You know what's interesting as well? Exploration, how's it going? Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, city, state, country, whatever you guys feel comfortable sharing. And let's get this party started. Our agenda for the day, hi Karsten, how's it going from Germany? Our agenda for the day, and I've got to turn off my Wi-Fi, make sure everything's fine here. Our agenda for the day is quite simple, right? So we want to talk about we want to talk about Tesla stock. Then we're going to go into Fed. Fed is a big story for this week, particularly Wednesday, when we hear from Jay Powell. Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on macro and how it pertains to the general stock market, because remember, macro is king right now, right? Then we're going to talk about Apple earnings on Thursday, the job reports on Friday. It's a big week, folks. It's a big week in the stock market, and there's a couple of ways that it can go. Let me read out some places here as the chat loads up on my end. I thought he did a third. I'm not sure. Andy from Vancouver, how's it going, Andy? Digital, how's it going? Raining Toronto over here. Thank you for coming. Our awesome mods. Felicia, great to see you. Hello from Cape Cod. I hope you're doing well in Cape Cod, Felicia. Geneva, Illinois. There we go. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Raining Toronto. Toronto's raining. It's not snowing there anymore. I swear, I booked a trip to Toronto March 1st. Went there. Heaviest snowstorm of the year, they said. So it's just my luck. I guess I missed it. Michael, how's it going? Service from Grass, Austria. Hey, Andrew, shout out. Oh, whoops. Andrew, shout out to you for becoming a Juju Gang Patreon member. I just got the notification pulled up here. Sorry for the little lag. Feel free to connect your Discord account into Patreon, and then you can get access to our Juju Gang, bring the good Juju. Appreciate your support. Thank you, my friend. Patreon.com/hit that bid. Also, by the way, I haven't launched this officially yet, so you guys are the first people to know about this, technically, right? Someone says lock my car. Okay, I locked it. So I got approved for Twitter subscriptions, and I'm trying to do the mental gymnastics of like, okay, I still want to tweet what I tweet. Like, I don't want to filter it out only to paid. But of course, I have a Patreon. We have an awesome Discord membership. And then, of course, we have YouTube membership as well if you want to join on YouTube. And so I'm trying to think, I'm like, how do I manage? Like, for a long time, I didn't want to manage because, people were asking, even on our Discord, they were like, yeah, sure, you're going to sign up for this. And I was like, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot if I don't. So I signed up for it. And then I didn't get approved for a long time. And then yesterday I kind of complained about it by replying to Elon. And within like 5 minutes, I think a few people helped me out. They tagged the right people. I got approved. So I'm happy with that. But I'm trying to, I kind of set my price to the lowest price we have on Patreon, which is, I think, $3 per month. And again, the whole purpose of the Patreon YouTube membership is that we like during the inception of the channel, people wanted a Discord, people wanted an area that we can come together and chat and kind of share our thoughts. But of course, when you open up everything for free, you just get a lot of spam. You get people that don't really mean that well. You get people that are trying to poach other people. So that little barrier of entry makes it so we have an awesome community, in my opinion. And again, it's just, I guess, buying a coffee a month is the way that I kind of looked at it. So feel free to join, but you don't have to. No pressure. I see a lot of familiar faces in here that tune in. Guillermo from Guadalajara, Mexico. I'm pretty proud of my pronunciation on that one. How's it going, Guillermo? Sean from Santa Maria, California. Folks, it is raining. It's not raining, but it's like cloudy. It feels like it's going to rain out here. So I'm jealous of all the southern weathern folks coming in. Exploration says, I'm driving a Starship. Drive safe, my friend. Slowlands Teddy from Oregon. Okay, let's talk Tesla stock. So NASDAQ's up 17% for the year. Year to date, I should say. S&P 500 is about half of that. As we kind of stand here and we look at Tesla stock, it's kind of a nothing burger, right? I tweeted this out last week. I said option flow is looking quite bearish to go into next week. Who knows where we go, but we don't have a lot of catalysts for Tesla stock. This is unfortunately just the macro environment that we live in. A big portion of what we have to deal with now is not really going to be Tesla specific, because we got the earnings out of Tesla, 75 cents EPS, let's say. But now, from now on out, it's all about macro, right? A lot of it is going to be about macro. And as we say when we talk about macro, I don't know how, I don't know why, but the Fed seems like they can continue to raise interest rates. This Wednesday, there's a 85% chance that the Fed is going to raise rates 25 basis points. So it's all but baked in, right? All but baked in, which is crazy considering what just happened with First Republic Bank over the last week here, them going down. And there was some internal notes from the Fed. I'm not sure if you guys saw this or not, but there was some internal notes from a couple of Fed speakers, and they expressed concerns in the beginning of the year about these high interest rate environments and them affecting banks and insolvencies, and high interest rates just increasing expenses to a point where banks can't afford it. So they knew that this was potentially a problem, yet they didn't do anything about it, and they continued to raise interest rates. The Bank of Canada, just so everyone has some context here, Bank of Canada up here has pretty much said like we're done. We are done. Inflation actually is coming down. We expect it to be 3% in the summer. We're all good. That's what the Bank of Canada said. And so what I don't get is why the Fed continues to raise interest rates when all they need to do is hold pat. They need to hold steady. All indications of real-time data is showing that inflation is massively low. And of course, they have a long-term 2% target. They don't need to hit at 2% today. They need a 2% average over that long run. So I don't know why, but they're going to raise interest rates again, 25 basis points, which again, you guys know my prediction. My prediction is by the end of the year, of course, they're going to start cutting rates down in the States by at least 50 basis points to end the year. I think 25 basis points is the last one, and then tack on 50 plus basis points of a hike before 2023 actually comes to a close. I think if you look at the futures market, there's a 2% cut expected from a year from now, from where rates are today. And Credit Suisse, Andy says, yes, Credit Suisse as well. So, look, I don't know. Oh, someone's popping by. I don't know what's happening with the Fed, but all I know is that the macro environment is what is king still at the end of the day, and it will be for the next year-ish. If you look up some charts, I was looking at some charts. If you look at some charts about the stock market bottoming and the Fed fund rates overlaid on it, usually there's a 3 to 6 month period after the pause before the bottom, right? So the Fed will pause. There'll be a 3 to 6 month lag, and then the stock market will bottom. This macro cycle, I think, is just a little bit different. I'm going to put my live chat. This macro environment, I just think, is a little bit different. Now, throw in the chat. I want to get your opinion on this. Throw in the chat. Do you think this is the last Fed interest rate hike of the year or not? Because there are some people on FinTwit that are saying that aren't believing that this is going to be the last one. So throw in the chat if you think this is going to be the last one or not. Kaifo saying no rate cuts this year. Powell doesn't care for anything but his Volcker legacy. Well, Powell, I mean, I think it's on the record, right? Powell's one of his mentors, right? is Paul Volcker. So you're right in that sense. He does love that kind of a set. And also, folks, this is what pisses me off so much. When did the Fed speakers all have to sell their stocks? They sold it a month before the stock market topped. Don't forget this. All of the Fed speakers sold all of their stocks a month before the stock market topped in 2021, right? It's just insane. If you look at, they were trading stocks, they were buying equities, and then all of a sudden, October, I think it was October-ish, all of a sudden there was some conflict of interest that rose. And they're like, okay, fine. Don't even don't do this big, thorough, deep dive into this. We'll just sell everything. I know it's better like that. It actually pisses me off a lot. I'm sorry. Todd's saying, yes, one more. Oh, one more. Okay. So you guys don't think this is the last one. Hopefully, but you never know with the Fed. I think it's the last one, says Michael. I'd be very surprised if there's more past this, because I think economic data is going to show to us that I'm not sure if the economy is going to be able to handle. You know what? What did I say? I think I said in February. I was like, I think we're kind of past the breaking point, I think. Raymond says Powell will play politics and lower rates as the U.S. presidential primary approaches. Oh, we're back in the election cycle again, unfortunately. I don't know why, but it seems like every 2 months we're back into a presidential election cycle. It's crazy that, you have a 4-year job, 2 years in, you start a re-election again. And then a year after election, you're managing all of you're managing all of the sideshows going on. So Digital says just go in when Nancy Pelosi goes all in. Yep. Well, we'll see. But macro markets and the way that they're shaping up today are going to be the basis of what's happening. I think there's a couple ways this goes. On Wednesday, 25 basis points is going to happen. The question Jay Powell is going to be bombarded with at this presser is going to be about pausing. And are we past the breaking point? That's going to be the biggest aspect of what he's going to be asked about. Now, I don't expect him ever to come out and say, this is it, we're done. I would be really surprised if that happened. But he has to signal in a way of like, okay, well, I think data is coming in cooler than expected. But the problem is, a couple weeks ago, we got PCE, which we know the Fed cares about, and it was hotter than expected. I think it was at 4.4% versus 4.1 expected. So I don't know. How many FSD updates till level 4 is hit? Marty's asking. I don't know. Okay, throw in the chat. If someone has FSD beta, throw in the chat of what timeline is. I asked everyone last week of when I think robotaxis are going to go live, but the problem, one of the issues is that we don't know what, like, Tesla really doesn't talk in these levels, right? They don't talk level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like the SAE does, but Tesla Autopilot is just amazing. I can go on a road trip today, turn it on a highway, and I can have it do 95% of the driving for me on the highway. Of course, no lane change, and I don't have Navigate on Autopilot, but even Autopilot, the way it works today is just amazing. So as much as I talk about timelines and I'm bearish on them, I am very much excited about the tech. And maybe I get beta. Folks, I've been trying to push Elon to get FSD beta subscription here for a long time. Francesco says, when is FSD beta coming to Canada? I want to try it so bad. Well, FSD beta is here. I have a video out with one of our awesome viewers of the channel who took me out on his Model Y FSD beta last summer. The problem is we don't have an FSD subscription up here. So you'd have to buy the FSD package, which I think is like 18 grand now, right? It's kind of insane. Stefan says, Biden dissed Elon at the correspondence dinner. Did you all see that? No, I didn't see that. Was that? You know what the thing is? So many deep fakes nowadays. I have problems even like when people put like these big captions on these Twitter videos. I'm like, oh, it's probably some sort of deep fake that someone made. What happened? Please fill us in. Someone fill us in on what Biden said about Elon at this correspondence. I had no idea. By the way, thank you all for joining me on a Sunday. You guys could be anywhere. You guys are here hanging out with me. Todd says FSD is getting ridiculously good. And Timothy says it's actually $19.5 thousand plus tax. Yikes. Yikes, right? Of course, like if robotaxis allow you to make money, what's 20K, right? Like you can make that back and you can put your return on investment. Now, the other thing is if you're buying a car new outright, maybe you can lump in you can just lump it into your loan. And if you're a business owner, you're going to be writing it off anyways. So, there's some ways that you can finagle that. But for the average person to buy a $20,000 package post-purchase in cash on a credit card, let's say, it's just tough, right? Also, when it's just kind of something that you're testing right now, it's not really officially anything that you can monetize. That's part of the problem. Well, Boba, we're going to hear more about the First Republic bank situation tomorrow morning. There'll be a report out. They're going to time it perfectly. Might even be tonight. So I think we'll probably get some sort of report tonight or tomorrow morning just to calm the markets. We saw this happen with SVB on the Sunday night, Monday morning. So look out for that. Maybe it's already come out. I'm not following the situation too closely, but that's what I expect. And he says, I have FSD beta here in Vancouver. It's hugely improved with 11. It's pretty great. Amazing. Well, it's good to have a local person give me some feedback on that. The rate of change should go up as well, right? FSD beta, single stack, highway, city, That's the whole idea, is that iterations can happen faster. The code is less burdening for these engineers. But of course, there's going to be quirks that happen as they've switched to single stack now. Murat says, what do you think about Tesla stock short term? Well, all of that I've said can be summarized in, I think short term, either Tesla's a nothing burger or it continues to be weak. I don't see how Tesla outperforms or is strong other than if macro rips up or something. I'm not sure what in the Tesla stock narrative on the street could could actually excite a lot of Wall Street at the moment. Tesla's in kind of this like wait and see, show us earnings, show us cost reductions. We kind of know what's happening now. There's no outside surprises other than if you want to throw an FSD, other than if you want to throw an energy, but even energy got tamed because last earnings call we heard from Zach that long-term aspirations for energy is 20%. So no more 50% earnings, 50% margins like people are expecting, right? Which was kind of hilarious. Marty says, agreed, FSD getting very human-like. Elon might be right, and it's pretty much done this year. I hope that's, look, I will be so stoked, right? The problem is, for me, is that I see improvements, for sure. But then it does something so stupid in a video where it's like, damn, it's like, it's like if you have a kid and he scores like 99% on his maths 7 test, right? But then you ask him to help with your other kid's grade 4 homework and he can't answer what 2 plus 2 is. So it's like you have these quirks, these kind of blind spots, these kind of situations, kind of one-offs, the March of the Nines, where of course, as a layman, as a non-engineer, you look at it, you're like, damn it, like, I'm so excited about this, but that's just what happened. So, again, I'm okay to have stones thrown at me about FSD bullishness on timeline, just because I think it's good to kind of wait and see. The last thing that we want to do is jump the gun on FSD and release something that's not fully ready, right? Stefan says, Biden says something to the effect of the quickest way to make something disappear is to have Elon buy it. Really? Wow, Biden said that? Damn, whoever is writing these jokes for Biden, hey, has got it out for Elon. Well, I'm not surprised. The people that are around Biden are probably very anti-Elon. I can see that 100%. I actually don't even think Biden per se himself, if you talk to him one-on-one off the record, would be very anti-Elon. But I guarantee you that all the young staffers around him probably hate him. Sean says, driving FSD beta for months, I've seen significant improvement. Biggest complaint is that it cuts the corners on left turns and switches to the wrong lane for upcoming turns and roundabouts. So that latter part, I'm not too worried about because it is navigation, right? But the cutting of the corners, yes. Another thing I've kind of seen on highway driving, if I'm like over 100 kilometers per hour, is that around sharper turns, it will cut lanes. And again, that's natural to be able to not slide off the road. But I would appreciate it slowing down around those turns instead. Yashu says, Marty says, Yashu, wow, Sunday morning brain. Do you load your video into Twitter too? Well, that's the thing, Marty. Actually, I'm hoping to do that now. So what I'm thinking of doing is loading my pre-recorded video. So if I do live streams, probably not. Like this live stream is not broadcasted on Twitter. But if I do pre-recorded stuff, to be able to throw it onto Twitter for subscribers, ad-free, technically. And on Patreon, I do that occasionally as well. If I do like a modeling video on Patreon, or if I do some sort of pre-recorded segment, I'll throw it on there a day before it goes live. Like sometimes when I do interviews, like I think the last one I did, it's been a while, when I did Dan Ives' interview, I posted that a day before on Patreon only access, and then I posted that publicly after. But I need to come up with some sort of way to make Twitter, because soon enough it'll be monetized as well. But right now, just subscribers, I guess. Dennis's question, should Tesla consider 2 FSD rates, one for commercial robotaxi, one for personal? Totally, Dennis. That's a great idea. Actually, I got a lot of flack for this. Last week I tweeted, I said, when FSD does come out, I want semis to be prioritized. And the reason for that is because transportation logistics and heavy duty trucking has the biggest marginal benefit, the largest marginal benefit, I should say, for FSD, in my opinion. The amount of driving miles that are done from trucking, the amount of, truckers have a hard job, folks. Like, I'm not sure if there's any truckers in the chat here, But trucking is not an easy job. The amount of you don't get a lot of sleep. You're usually really tired. You're on the road a lot. FSD can really help, and I think it would have a great effect to our economy as well. As well, pardon me, I can barely talk. Let me take a sip. Andy says stock will go up, down, or stay the same, guaranteed. That is true. That is true. Digital says Q3 is coming fast. Cybertruck. Okay, Cybertruck. The last time I did a poll on the Cybertruck in the chat, everyone was saying September-ish. Like I would say the median answer was September of this year. I'm still at December. I'm still at December. No news on on Giga Mexico to my knowledge, but I think expected operation is end of 2024. That's my note. Kaifo says, interesting to see models from 60 to 146 for Tesla stock. It's obvious for Wall Street. It's obvious Wall Street was spooked by the earnings call and continued use of FST as for the answer of everything it rolls out. Well, they don't. Wall Street actually doesn't model FST. And you're right, they did get spooked because Elon said margins, we don't care because we'll make them up on software. So it kind of left people at this junction of shit. Well, if Elon's willing to sell these at very little margin, do I believe in the software advantage of Tesla? And specifically, when people think software, they think FSD, rightfully so. But when I think software, I think the App Store, like being able to pull up something on there to be able to monetize apps. Like Apple makes a tremendous amount of their margin from the services side. So I think Tesla has the ability, and I tweeted this out as well. I said, how long, where is it? That camera right there, right? How long until I can start streaming from the car? Like I know I can zoom from the car. How long until I can start streaming? Like instead of me holding my phone up here by the steering wheel, let's say I'm driving. I can do driving videos of just it recording from the in-cabin camera. Stuff like that you can start to monetize once you have computers on wheels going around and people paying for data. Todd says, do you agree with Megapack margins being mid 20%? Do you think Zach is sandbagging? I think I'm going to believe him at his word. Like maybe he is sandbagging because he knows that everyone's getting too giddy about these 50% margins. But Tesla really has good pricing power. Like Tesla, Megapacks are at $2 million now. So potentially, but then again, I'm going to wait and see it mode with that. Must be the SNL writers. Gonzalo says, this is a very interesting time for Tesla holders. Many thought 2023 would be all-time high. So much happening with factories, energy, FST, but easy to get blinded by share price. Don't play short term. Macro is a big portion of that, my friend, right? Because at the end of the day, if there's war going on and, let's not even talk about Taiwan and China because that's a whole new, and maybe we should because it's starting to smell like China is gearing up for something with Taiwan. And again, I don't want to see this happen. So it's something that we need to, because who would have thought with Ukraine and Russia and the invasion there? So, this is the thing is like, I forget who says this quote, you have a plan and God laughs, right? So it's all a bigger story than just Tesla per se right now. So, Todd says Elon can get a rocket to land, but can't get FST to stop signaling around curves. Yeah, that's the thing. T. Nelly, how's it going? Electrified Channel released a great interview with Industry Insider this morning. It sounds like China owns patents on LFP chemistry, so that's likely the reason LFP isn't produced in the U.S. yet. Need more info. Well, I think the U.S., they should just fully focus on 4680 production, continue to go gung-ho on that. We know that qualifies for the tax rebates in the U.S., and we know it's going to have better energy density and lower costs overall. So DJ says, I'm not a trucker, but I drive 10 to, oh wow, DJ, didn't know that, 10 to 12 hours a day for a job, 4 days a week, albeit. Damn. Well, honestly, that's a killer job mentally, right? And I don't, like people that drive a lot as well, like I'm not sure what you do, but driving is very mentally exhausting. So I think the people that are commercially driving, I think we should prioritize those people for FSD first, in my opinion. Yeah, commercial FSD can go for $100,000 easy, says Marty. Classy Dan, how's it going, Dan? Trucker here, you're absolutely right. But driving in downtown type places will take a long time for FSD. Exactly. And actually, that's a key point that I actually didn't actually hit on, was that the reason why I think trucking should be prioritized for FSD is because a large portion of truckers driving is done on highways. And we know Tesla works so well. Tesla FSD works so well already on highways that it would actually be such an easier project for Tesla to do. The only problem is, I will say, the only problem is crossing state lines. Richard from Not Legal Advice was telling us on a chat, he's a lawyer. He was saying it's the crossing of the state lines with autonomous tech that can bring up some issues legally. Stefan says, I'm worried about the street's reaction to the next earnings with more price cuts favored in. I'm not buying more till then. Fair enough. And the, I think for the record, I think price EPS expectations will be quite low for next year or for next earnings. Francesca says it's hard to explain to people how nice Autopilot is on a highway. Agreed. When I so we drove from here, Vancouver, to Banff, Alberta, right? And that's about a 10 or 12, I forget, like 10-ish, 11-ish hour drive, okay? Straight. We drove there straight. Of course, we had to stop at superchargers. We stopped about 4 or 5 superchargers. And I swear, we were on Autopilot. We don't have FSD. Neither of our Teslas have FSD. We're on Autopilot the whole time. 90, like let's say 95% of the time. The only time we took Autopilot off was when we were trying to overtake slow people or we were trying to get around something. So 95% of the time. And I swear, the mental fatigue that I would have had if I didn't have Autopilot is just insane. The ability to have Autopilot on and you don't see anyone for 2 kilometers and you're just pretty much going straight, albeit there's not a lot of straight highways going on Vancouver to Banff. But you have a couple kilometers going straight. You can turn on Autopilot, just kind of relax. You can look around for a quick second as you're driving. You're still ready to take over in case you need to. But it makes a big difference mentally speaking. So we'll see. Raymond says, Corpus Christi is breaking ground in the next few months. Production in 9 months. New refining process is proven in a pilot line, still looking very promising. There's a lot going on. You talk about Corpus Christi, Texas, and there's that huge aspect of Giga Texas. Of course, Giga Berlin with 4680s, hopefully getting made there at scale soon enough. And we talk about energy. We talk about Giga Mexico. And of course, we talk about the 20. You know what I don't get? Okay, I'm going to throw up one of my gripes that I have here, okay? And let me know if you think this is unfounded. I swear to God, I heard Elon say in Q1 of 2022 call, or 2020, or Q2 of 2022, one of the earlier quarters, he said, Tesla is not focused on the $25,000 model. We don't care about it. We're focused on robotaxi, focused on the bot. Everyone and their mom came out of the woodwork and said, there you go. No $25,000 model. It's over. And then now we're talking about $25,000 model again, and now Tesla's focused on it. I'm just confused, right? I'll be honest. I'm just confused. I just don't get that kind of heel turn that happened, that miscommunication. Maybe I'm missing something, and I hope someone can clarify if that's the case. I'm happy to be wrong. I just don't get how we went from, I swear, and this is why I've just been kind of blindsided about like what to expect lately, because it's like, I swear I've heard Elon say we're not focused on our sub $30,000 model. And then all of a sudden now with Giga Mexico and the new model coming out that everyone's talking about, not Highland, right? Because I don't think that'll be sub 20, that won't be a $25,000 model. But now all of a sudden it's like, there's a focus again on this. So I'm just confused. And I've kind of been discombobulated about that lately, to be honest. So someone correct me and try to fill in the gaps for me. Stefan says, is there a difference on battery consumption when you used FSD versus not? That's probably a question to someone in the chat because I don't have FSD, but Autopilot versus not, I'd reckon Autopilot probably saves me a little bit battery, because when I'm not on Autopilot, I am throttling the accelerator probably more than I should. I'm probably not using the downhill the best way I probably can. So I reckon Autopilot keeps me in a steadier state. TJ says, yes, luckily it's a 2-day on, 1-day off job. Makes it easier, but after 12 hours of driving, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely mentally drained. I'd much rather be doing roofing again over than driving. Driving's tough, man. Driving's tough. Francesco says, set it to 115 and chill. Yes, kilometers, that's right. You know what? I got autopilot banned on my, not banned, but I got it disabled on my car once because I went over a certain speed and it was like, nope, you're not allowed to use autopilot for the rest of this drive anymore. So I had to drive like 2 hours until our next supercharger stop without it. That's an admission. Um, and Mark says I've been told Teslas don't work in Canada. I think they do, but I'll have to double check and get back to you on that. um, DJ says, I still feel a base Model Y will be 38 to 40K and the Model 3 will drop to 28 to 30. Well, if the Model 3 can drop to 28 to 30 and margins stay kind of sort of intact, you're right. I think that increases the base, the total addressable market a lot. The sub 30 does. Murray says, I'm still on the fence if people will ever be able to buy the 25,000 model if FSD is solved. Well, that's the big thing. Like, I kind of feel like Elon felt like last year, he's like, FSD is so close. We got this right now. We don't need to talk about $25,000 model because his logic could easily be, and this makes sense, if we have robotaxis getting fixed or getting released next month, who cares about this $25,000 model, right? Who cares? And then I think the heel turn was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to take longer. We just released single stack. It took us a while. It was an end of the year release. Let's continue to talk about $25,000 model. So, yeah. Digital says every Tesla runs FSD in shadow mode. So it only use battery even if you don't subscribe. That's right, Alexis. Yeah, seriously, that's when I pull off. Yeah. Timothy says FSD doesn't work well with me in Vancouver, to be honest, mainly places without good lane markings and wide residential roads. Yes, so when I tested it FSD beta with Lex on the channel, we were mostly in obviously well-marked areas. That we went in some residential areas, but we never had the proverbial, when you pull over to the side in a residential area, let someone pass you and then they wave you through and then you go around. I want to experience that. Let's see here. And he says, if you get thrown out of autopilot, just stop it, put in park and go again. Autopilot will work. And you're right. But I was literally on a highway and that wasn't really an option for me at that point. So I had to just continue to till my stop. I definitely thought about it. I was like, maybe I should pull over here. But I was like, no, I'm not pulling over. It was one of those like single lane highways. So it wasn't going to happen. Interesting. We get some phantom braking. I haven't had phantom braking in a while. I think I only had phantom braking once or twice, and that was a couple years ago. But to be fair, I don't use autopilot often enough because I'm mostly city driving. So if you're doing a lot more highway, maybe you're experiencing it more than I am. How's it going, Harry? Like the cowboy emoji. Francesca says, I charge my car 75% every night. Unfortunately, I do not. I am at 35% at the moment. I'll charge it tomorrow. I honestly, I don't do great battery management on this guy. And by the way, I need to calculate degradation of my battery again, and figure out how much. There's a way to do this on the Tesla app, right? Like if I hit the service button and I say I want battery degradation stats, like doesn't Tesla like pull a report for me through the app? But maybe I think I need to charge to 100%. I think I have an NMC battery in this, so I will have to figure out the way to calibrate it to calculate my battery degradation. Interesting, Robert. Dividend. I'm gonna have to look at that. Valerian, how's it going? Late to stream. FSD Beta 11 V11 is great. They need to work on planning out what lanes to be approaching on turns. Otherwise, the rest of it's pretty minor stuff, it feels like. I'm excited, man. I hear people like that talk about FSD V11 and I get giddy. And then I watch a video, like I said, with something that I think is basic and it can't pass it. So I also get that every area geographically is going to be very different. Like in SF, I'm not sure where you are, Valerian, but in the Bay Area, I'm sure it works really like probably top notch, right? But you know what? I have, my general questions about Tesla FSD robotaxi releases. Does Tesla just wait? Do they just wait on the entire, like all of North America before they're going to release robot, or do they go, you know what? Let's do a closed area around, let's say the Bay Area or SF or Fremont, and let's do a pilot project where we run robotaxis and they're Tesla operated fleets. And then once that gets through approval, then they release that update to all people that want to enroll into robotaxi. Maybe they charge like $200 per month for anyone that wants to sign up for robotaxi management. So the release of this will be really interesting as well. What's my mileage? I don't know mileage, but my kilometerage. I think you're gonna make fun of me. So we have about like 14,000. I want to say 14 or let's say round up 15,000 kilometers on this puppy. So I don't know, like what is that? 10,000 miles in 2.5 years? Like really, not a lot of mileage on this guy. Harry says, "What sort of ad would you make? What sort of ad would make you trade in your Model 3 for an upgraded Tesla?" I don't think I would get much in terms of an upgrade if I traded Model 3 for Model 3. I have debated the whole Model 3 to Model Y because Model Ys now with rebates start at 55,000 Canadian dollars here. I bought this for 53,000 Canadian. But the whole catch 22 is of course that if I get a cheaper Model Y, I'm getting a lower price for my Model 3. Now, if I'd sold my Model 3 last year, like I was debating, I was like, car prices are really high. If I sell and I wait it out, I bet you I could buy cheaper. That would have been great, but then I wouldn't have qualified for the rebate. So I don't know. Thank you, David. So David did the calculations for us. 8,699 miles. There we go. That's very low, right? Like that shows you how little driving that I do to have that low mileage in 2 years and 5 months, right? Oh, digital too. Thank you, digital. So about 9,000 miles. Yes. Really not a lot, right? More data from new areas improves the FSD for that region? Question mark. Yes, EC. Exactly, right? Because it's a learning model. It's a data learning model. So Marty says Las Vegas will be the first robotaxi fleet. That works out too, I think. Too early for degradation. Well, that's the thing, Stefan. That's what I thought. But if I look at my mileage and I'm just doing some rough calculations, I'm like, I think it's degraded more than it should have at that point. So that's why I want to calculate how to do. I'm gonna have to YouTube how to calculate degradation again because I did it last year and I was like, this can't be right. I might have to calculate it though, or I might have to recalibrate it though. David says we have our Model 3 since November 2021, and we have about 32,000 miles on it. Well, that's the thing, David. You're a much better man than I. So you're obviously driving it a lot more. But also, like one thing to consider is that I think as an American, I'm guessing you're American, you're gonna just drive a lot more. There's a lot more freeways, highways. As someone that lives in the city, certified city boy, CCB, don't really do a lot of driving. Yeah, well, our weather is not that cold here, actually, Harry. Like, our average temperature in the winter is like between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius, right? Oh, forgot. You guys don't even know what Celsius means. Um, I forget how to do. I think you time. Forget about it. Between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius. So it really doesn't get that cold here. Like it snows here a couple times a year, albeit it's been snowing more here every year. But it usually does. It's like imagine Seattle weather, right? So not a lot. I thought there was a self-diagnose for that when you unlocked Tesla Tech Mode. That's what I'm thinking. After this stream, I'm gonna pull up the Tesla app and see, and just I think there's a way to do it through the app. David says, point of reference, it's my wife's Model 3. She commutes to work every day, loves Autopilot. She tells me every week it's an awesome present for her. Best husband gift ever. David, look at you, getting some brownie points. I agree. The safety features, the reason why I talk about Tesla so much, and I try to convince a lot of my friends and family to get Teslas, is not because I think the car looks cool or the tech is awesome. That's all true. But it's the safety. At the end of the day, that's invaluable, right? It really is invaluable. That family, that terrible story of that murder-suicide attempt, of that person driving his Tesla off of the 200-foot cliff in the Bay Area, and all of them surviving and pretty much almost walking away from their injuries. That doesn't happen if you're not in a Tesla. So as much as we talk about cool stuff with tech and service, and you know, it's really not about trying to be a hot shot or trying to look cool. Really, like at the end of the day, safety is paramount, because we could, especially if you drive a lot, it's a big factor. Scott, how's it going from Arizona? Jealous? I'm sure your weather is nicer than mine here. Celsius. Yeah, what is Celsius? Is that some sort of juju? Well, actually, there's some apparently new varieties of juju coming out. Someone posted on our Discord that they're trying out, because you guys know we did a whole juju vote, right? Which orange is your favorite breed of orange, right? That sounds weird, breed of orange. It's almost like it's a living thing. Your variety of orange, right? And you guys know Sumo's won, like by mass, like a huge margin. Sumo's won. Sumo oranges. Sumo oranges are damn expensive though up here. Yeah, not related to the failed crypto bank. Exactly. Dennis says Celsius to Fahrenheit says double it and add in 30. Okay, so about 5 to 10 is about 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so double it and add, probably double it and add 32, I'm guessing, right? Okay, so 10 degrees Celsius, let's say, double it, 20, 50. Okay, that's easy enough, 52. Right on. Thanks, Dennis. So, anyways, amazing. A Sunday afternoon here, kind of chilly. It's going to be a big week ahead. Remember, we have FOMC this Wednesday, 25 basis points. Book it. That's what's going to happen. That's not the surprising part. The surprising part may or may not be the press conference that comes after. Tesla, Apple. Wow, Freudian slip, hey? For Apple, hey, Andy, shout out to you for becoming a Patreon member. I just saw the notification come in. Shout out to you. So that's Andrew and Andy becoming Patreon members on this stream. Shout out to you. Join your, remember, connect your Discord accounts to Patreon. You can come into our Juju Gang Discord and chat it up. We're always talking in there. Anyways, Apple is reporting earnings on Thursday. So you talk about tech sentiment. We know Microsoft came out with pretty decent earnings before he started blabbing his mouth about AWS growth. Apple earnings this Thursday will shape the market. Jobs report on Friday. So if all goes to plan, 25 basis point happens. Jay Powell comes out and says, look, we're pretty good. I think we should be okay. This might be the last one, may or may not be, because he's not going to flat out say that. Apple earnings come out, and then let's say job report comes in weaker than expected on Friday. It's all shaping up for that pause. Now, does that mean the market rips the following week? I don't know. But we'll continue to look at the options order flow, and the option order flow was not very bullish ending the week. So let's see if Monday might be a downward trap the shorts day. So hold on here. A lot of multiply by 1.8, then add 32 per Johan. See, multiplying by 1.8 is is not great for me mentally. David said, imagine citrus farms in Canada don't do very well. It's probably why it's expensive. Well, I think all of our citrus is imported either from China or Florida, even. Whether short sellers attack another bank. Well, the bank thing is a whole nother issue. It's actually, it's crazy that that's even the fourth, like this is what, like the third or fourth bank to collapse here. So, yeah, I thought the Elon interview with Bill Maher was entertaining. I didn't finish all of it last night. I had it pulled up and then I just ran to the Oilers to watch the Oilers game. But it's interesting to see. I'd like to see Elon do like we've seen Tucker Carlson, we've seen Bill Maher. I'm wondering if first of all, by the way, I think Elon should do an interview with Dave Lee and Rob Maurer, like you promised a couple years ago. I think that should get done. Let me know if you disagree with that, but I think Elon should go do his interview with them first. But, it'd be interesting to see Elon do a couple more interviews just to get, like, maybe another Joe Rogan podcast or something. Just to get him to, not so formal, not so, like, pointed questions, but just, like, kind of get his general thoughts about everything. in more of a relaxed environment, right? Yeah, you guys agree. Okay, so I'm getting the same kind of sentiment. Like, I get it. People want to talk about politics, and Elon wants to talk about politics, and that's Elon, right? He's very like he's pointed on that kind of woke mind virus agenda at the moment, the anti one. Fair enough. But let's hear, like, I just want to get his thoughts about tech in a 3 hour podcast where he's just talking about stuff that's interesting him and what's exciting for him right now. And just like no agenda, no politics, but just like what's new. But yes, Elon should definitely do the Rob Maurer Dave Lee interview because he quite literally promised it. Maybe that's just on their end; they haven't pushed for it because I think Dave Lee and Rob Maurer are really nice guys. Obviously, that probably wouldn't keep messaging Elon about, hey, let's do this. Like I don't think they would push for it. I think they'd kind of be of the mind like let it happen naturally or not let it happen at all. So I think because of that, and Elon's a busy guy, you just can't. That's probably not going to happen organically unless you push for it. So, but man, getting like Dave Lee obviously is very big on the AI and the bots. So getting him to talk more about that with Elon, and then Rob Maurer would just be an interesting back and forth, I think, between the two, because Rob Maurer has just done his daily podcast for so long. So, all right, I'm gonna sign off now. A little bit of a shorter episode, 45 minutes here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I am. Oh, whoops. I am gonna drive out to go pick up something. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Remember, don't let any of this, like a lot of this stuff we talk about, all the news stories will change. There'll always be negative stories out there that may or may not piss us off. But let's try to focus on like what uplifts us. That's kind of my motto for this week heading in is like, let's focus on what is positive, what motivates us, because in this climate of Twitter and as much as Twitter is like cool, if you did a count of how many negative tweets you see versus how many positive tweets you see, you'd be surprised. Maybe you won't be. It's going to be 80% negative, right? You'll see a lot of fights, people debating with no purpose. But, the subconscious mind often takes so much of what we just pass by and let garbage flow through our head that at the end of the day, I think it's just easy to get jaded. So my motto for the week heading in is let's focus on the positive, what keeps us excited, what keeps us motivated, and try to focus on that because I think at the end of the day, all the stuff that we talk about with earnings and EPS and growth, like this is all cool, but this will pass as well, right? Good or bad, it will pass. But what won't pass is us, right? Our mental states. So let's try to work on that. And T. Nelly nails it, says less screen time leads to less anxiety. That's a big one. And I know it's ironic that I'm saying that sitting in here live streaming in the car. But go out there, have some fun, get off the screens, do whatever you need to do. And yes, per Johan, thank you for throwing that in. So Gordon Johnson did a Meet Kevin interview in person, and I just watched about 3 minutes of it before coming in, or before we're driving out. So I actually do want to watch that after this. So go check that out as well. Free plug for Meet Kevin, not that he needs it. All right, guys, much love. Thank you for tuning in for another random Sunday live stream. I may or may not be changing the times of these. I'm trying to debate. I've been getting some feedback of people that can't join just because it's Sunday morning church hour or whatever for them, and they have kids. So it's just one of those things I'm going to try to play with, and that also has to work with my schedule as well. But here's the bottom line: if you enjoy the content, hit subscribe, hit like. I may or may not go live randomly. So the bottom line is if you want to be alerted enough, and maybe you don't, right? Maybe you're watching this, you're like, Yash, I don't care when you go live. That's fair. So don't hit the bell in that case. But if you do want to get alerted of it, hit the notification bell. And when I schedule it, it should push notification to you if you care enough about that. Much love. Shout out to Andy and Andrew for joining as Patreon members of the Juju Gang. I'll see you guys on Discord. For anyone else that wants to support, feel free to follow me on Twitter as well. I guess I don't really plug my Twitter. But at Hey It's Yashu, I'm sure a lot of you guys follow me on there already. All right, much love. It's 9 p.m. in Sweden. Have a great night then, I guess. Have a great day if you're here in North America. And I will catch you in the next one. And I will continue to post out videos this week, more free flowing style videos out and about. Much love, Yash, signing off. Take care.